Hey everybody, it's Neecuism here. I want to get right into it because I got a lot to cover today. How's everybody doing? If you haven't heard, I decided to write a book. It's tentatively titled Neecuism's Laws of Power, How to Become God of Oneself. It's an antithesis to Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, where I feel like his book is more focused upon achieving external power, aka power over others. My book is more about achieving internal power. His book is more about becoming a god of business, whereas my book is more about becoming a god of oneself, internal god. So I'm trying to achieve internal power versus his external power. If you'd like to donate to offset some of the book publishing costs, you can go to Neecuism.com right now, and I got tabs set up. If you want PayPal, Cash App, what's the other one? I got a GoFundMe set up also. So let's get right into it, man. My first vlog was on the preface of the book. The second vlog actually discussed my first law, which is be the master, shine bright, never dim your light, which is an antithesis to Robert Greene's never outshine the master. Today, I'm going to discuss what's going to be my second law, which I'm very passionate about. It's speaking to existence. Speaking to existence is going to be my antithesis to Robert Greene's conceal your intentions. I want to get a couple things out of the way first. What I'm noticing is, especially with the first two laws, and I think a lot of the laws in Robert Greene's book, what I'm noticing is they're worded from like a fearful perspective. Think about it. The first two laws are never outshine the master, and the second one is conceal your intentions. You know what I mean? It makes sense, because what I'm noticing is when you're dealing with external power, you're dealing with forces that you really can't control, and in my mind, that you shouldn't even be trying to control. You shouldn't be trying to control others or even trying to develop power over others, but that's a whole nother topic. So that's why you're going to notice that all his laws are worded from like a fearful perspective, whereas mine are going to be worded from what I would call like a state of empowerment. Even the first two laws themselves. My first one is be the master. You know what I'm saying? Don't dim your light. You know what I'm saying? This second one is speak into existence. You can actually take my first two laws and actually, what I'm noticing as a way to develop internal power, especially in my mind, is through the use of like affirmations are very powerful. So you can take my first two laws and actually adopt them as affirmations. So let's see. One thing I'm noticing is one of the first things I wrote down was F equates to F. And like I said, the F stands for fearful. So I wrote F equates to F because I feel like fearful equates to feminine. And that's kind of how I view his book. Like, it's almost, I don't know, just wording stuff from a fearful perspective, it just doesn't seem so manly to me. But, you know, we'll get into that. It just seems like very, you know, it's fearful, like, but yeah, let's see here. Yeah, and actually what I'm talking about is like, if you actually read the book and read his book and internalize the laws he's talking about, you're going to start living life in general from a fearful perspective. You're going to start going into everything that you do from a fearful perspective, about worrying about what everybody else has going on before making any moves. And that's not internally powerful at all. We'll get into that more. But one of the first things he mentions in his book is about, in the Conceal Your Intentions chapters, keeping others in the dark and never revealing your purpose. Let me see. Never revealing your purpose behind your actions and decisions. And I just kind of feel like that's a recipe for relationship disaster. I know he's probably referring more to like business, but one of my main reasons for writing this book is that I noticed that people have taken his laws and they've taken them into like applying them more to than just business. They've applying them to their business relationships, along with their friendship relationships and their sexual relationships, to everything. So it's like, I just feel like there are a lot of people in life, I won't group everybody or whatever, but there's a large percentage of people in life who apply this conceal your intentions law to, like, when going into certain relationships and things like that. And yeah, I just feel like it's a recipe for, like, relationship disaster. It makes sense, not in my mind, but it makes sense when you're dealing with power over others, because you're trying to control how that person responds to you or whatever it is. Whereas in my mind, I'm gonna be more about speaking into existence what I want. I say relationship disaster because you're going to build your relationships using this conceal your intentions law, as it's going to be like the whole relationship is going to be built on, like, falsehoods and mistrust. And I'll equate this to, like, relationships in general. I see a lot of, and this, I'm not talking about just guys, I'm talking about me in the past too. We've all done this, where it's like, it's almost like part of what we do when approaching a woman. It's like, we don't want them to know what's going on. I guess it's this cat and mouse game. And in the end, I almost see why women distrust men in a lot of ways. Because there are a lot of guys who move like this when it's concealing your intentions. They start everything based off when courting a woman based off of lies and just hiding whatever they want to get out of it. And it makes sense, because most of us is mainly just after the pussy. I know back in the day, that's all I was about, goddamn. So concealing your intentions makes sense if that's your only intention. So I don't know, man. But okay, I'll get back to that fearful perspective part. The reason I'm so adamant about that is because I feel like the law of attraction works in both ways. The law of attraction is very powerful. Like, you can set your attention on and achieving whatever you want. That's why I feel like speaking into existence is my way of using the law of attraction to set my intent, getting on achieving whatever I'd like. You know what I'm saying? From a state of empowerment, using an affirmation to set it. Where conceal your intentions, the law of attraction works both ways. When you're thinking of everything from a fearful perspective, a lot of times what you fear the most, and if you're so focused on the fearful perspective, so focused on trying to control stuff that you can't control, so focused on being secretive about your intentions, a lot of times that same fear that you have, you attract that to you. And it goes into relationships. It's like, it goes, and I'll get into it. Women are gonna feel like I'm attacking them on this, but I gotta go into it. A lot of times I hear women talk about, and I guess men too, but mainly women, I hear women talk about, all the women know exactly what they don't want from a guy. They don't want, I don't want no lying ass nigga, I don't want no whatever. You don't want a liar, you don't want no po ass nigga, you don't want no nigga that ain't got this, I don't want no nigga that ain't got that, I don't want no nigga that do this, blase blase. But when I talk about this fearful perspective that I'm talking about, from when you're looking at life from Robert Greene's perspective, that same fearful perspective, a lot of times, and women, I think y'all can tell me, there's a lot of times that those same intentions that you get out to, like, not want, you end up drawing that shit to you. A lot of times, the same women who complain about, like, they don't want to come across lying ass niggas. You ever notice that you keep attracting lying ass niggas? You ever notice that you don't want whatever it is? You don't want a guy that's whatever. I'm trying not to name stuff that's, like, external, but that seems to be all that women care about. So, but, like, let's say you don't, okay, let's just focus on the lying part. You don't want a lying dude, but it seems like, oh, all I ever attract is lying ass niggas. It's because you're going into every relationship focusing on that fear of not going through that same hurt that you went through in the last one. And that goes deeper into not giving yourself enough time to get over that last relationship. But that's a whole nother thing. Basically, the fearful part I'm talking about is like I said, the law of attraction works both ways. So me saying all that is to say this. I think it would be a lot more powerful. This is my advice to women. It would be a lot more powerful to adopt my speak into existence perspective, from a state of empowerment. Focus on what you want out of a man. Write down what you want. Like, if you want, even if it's all about external stuff, if you want a rich man or a man with all this, but let's focus on the line part. Let's say you want to attract an honest man in your life. Write down that you want an honest man. You want a man with a high moral compass. You want a man with a high spiritual IQ. Write down these things and focus on what you want instead of what you don't want. Because like I said, that fearful attractive, the law of attraction works both ways. So my advice to women is, instead of telling you what you don't want and going into relationships telling a man what you're fearful of, like, I just got out of a relationship with so-and-so and he was a liar and all this and he wasn't shit. Instead of fearing attracting a fuck nigga, speak into existence what you want to attract. Write down what you want to attract. And I say write them down as affirmations and speak into existence what you want to attract. And it's not just for women. This is for men too. This is personally, like, I've been doing this lately. And if you follow my social media, I've been doing it like a lot lately. Like, I'm finding out, the more I get into myself, the more I'm noticing what I want from a woman. So it's like I'm writing down what I want. I want somebody that's, never mind. It ain't about me. But basically, I've been writing down what I want out of a woman instead of focusing on not attracting the type of woman that I want to attract anymore. But yeah. So he also goes into using false sincerity and ambiguous signals. Yeah. Okay. He also goes into, like, concealing your intentions. A big part of his law is using false sincerity and ambiguous signals to attract, like, what you want out of people. And it's like, honestly, this shit is common sense. It's like, people do this because they're afraid of being hurt. So they don't want to be the one who, they don't want to feel like the one who got suckered out of a relationship or whatever. It's that fearful aspect. You're trying to almost hurt them before they hurt you, or just protect yourself from being hurt by, putting these walls up first. You know what I mean? And in the end, I'm telling you, from my perspective, speaking to existence, I'm telling you to just be sincere and just say what you want out of a relationship. And it's like, I've been doing this my whole life pretty much, give or take, but it's one of those things to where, I'm not even gonna lie, my experience with this is, you're gonna lose out on a lot of women by doing this, by being upfront and just saying, like, a lot of times I meet chicks and I'll be like, hey, I'm feeling you, like, I like you or whatever, and let's spend some time or whatever. And then in the end, don't get it twisted, majority of chicks ain't going for that. But I say all that to say this, like, as I get older, I'm noticing that I'm going to do that even more, because a lot of times a short-term loss can be, in my mind, is a long-term gain. How people react to your sincerity says more about them than it says about your actual sincerity. I say all that to say this, like, when you're sincere with a female and tell them exactly what you want, you might lose out on her, because she might be attractive to, like, the majority of dudes who actually use Robert Greene's book. She might actually be attractive to fuck niggas. She might actually be attracted to liars, and that's how she enjoys being courted and stuff like that. And in the end, it's usually more of a sign of, like, immaturity. I don't know. I think the more adult women I come across, I think they appreciate the truthful aspect and speaking into existence more. But I ain't gonna lie, growing up, I haven't had that much, like, say all it says, I never had game. I pretty much just tell a bitch, like, whatever I'm feeling, and, like, if I lose out on her, then I was supposed to lose out on her, in my mind. I'm willing to take that short-term loss to attract the long-term gain. Because, and then, yeah. But, yeah, I'll go more into my part, speaking to existence. I want to give some tools that'll help with internal power. So, let me see. The first thing with speaking to existence is one of the most powerful things in the world is to write down your affirmations. Like I was saying, the previous example, if you're a woman and you want to attract a certain kind of man, write down everything that you want out of man. You know, write down, even if it's superficial stuff, good looking, a lot of money, whatever it is. But if I were you, I would probably want to think about, like, high integrity, high character. You want to, like, let's say you are a woman that wants to attract a man with a high moral compass and a high integrity, high character, and a high spiritual IQ. Write that down. It's powerful to write shit down. And after you write it down, speak internally first. Meditate on it. Pray on it. Speak, like, a lot of times people think talking to yourself is crazy. Nigga, well, I'm the most craziest nigga in the world because I talk to myself internally and at times, a lot of times externally too. Basically, you gotta talk to yourself. You gotta convince yourself before anything in the universe starts coming to you. So I say all that to say this. Speak internally first. Meditate on it. Pray on it. Set your intentions on whatever it is you want, you know? And, yeah, but before you start speaking externally, whether to yourself or to others, this is coming from personal experience. Don't speak externally until you built enough internal power to where you can't really be affected or swayed by the opinions or judgments of others. I'm saying from personal experience. And that's the only reason y'all see me doing what I'm doing now. Like, I've known that I was going to do this years ago, but I never had, like, the internal confidence to get in front of the camera and actually speak like I'm doing now and saying all the things I'm doing now. But I've been doing this for the last, like, 6 to 10 years. I've been talking to myself about everything. My truck just started up. I'm about to cut it off. But, yeah. Get back into it. But basically, I'm saying all this to say this. I didn't start putting myself out there externally like I'm doing now until I built up so much, like, spiritual equity in myself to where I really don't give a fuck about none of this shit that goes on outside of me or, like, people's opinions or anything like that. And another thing too that goes into, don't go to anybody about your decisions until you've already made a decision internally. I don't go to anybody asking them, hey, what do you think on this? Nowadays I don't. I used to do that. But nowadays I'm more of like, I think about something, I make a decision, I speak internally, and then when I go to people outside, I tell them what I'm going to do. I'm not asking them, I'm telling them. And they're still gonna react and judge and give their opinion, but it's like, it really doesn't matter. I let them voice their opinions, but the funniest part is, like, I really didn't even ask for it, so it'd be like, it's funny because I just be listening. I'm like thinking in my head, like, people will give their opinion on what you're doing, and I'm thinking in my head, like, nigga, I really don't give a fuck about what you really think about what I got going on. But I've already made that decision to do what I'm doing. So me sharing it is just me speaking to existence to you. I'm like basically just putting it in your head. But yeah. But like I said, branching back off that, everything has to start from within, especially with speaking into existence. When you're dealing with internal power, blah, it makes sense. You start from within. I don't know why I said blah. It starts from within. Yeah, the Hermetic principle, I said it in another vlog, was as within, so without. So it starts from within. Gandhi's famous quote is, watch your beliefs. Your beliefs turn into your thoughts turn into your words turn into your actions turn into your values, and your values turn into your destinies. So it all starts with your beliefs. Watch your beliefs. And another thing, beliefs to thoughts. Beliefs, make a decision. Your thoughts, talk to yourself, meditate, pray on it. And words, speak into existence. Which, like I said, internally, speak first, and then externally. Everything I'm doing right now is pretty much on this third step. I'm just speaking into existence everything I want out right now. I want to write this book. I already decided I'm going to write this book. I'm not asking you all, do you think I should write a book? No, I made a decision. Now I'm doing it. I'm going to write a website. I'm going to put a website out. I'm doing it right in front of you. I'm speaking it into existence while I'm doing it. And eventually, like, my words are actually turning into my actions and values, and the destiny is in the process. So I'm excited about wherever this destiny heads. But that's just my personal example. Another example that he goes, a lot of his examples that he gives, because he gives examples in his books, are every one of the examples he gives has to deal with war with others. It makes sense because his book is about achieving external power over others. So it's this huge focus on, like, war with everybody else, war with everything outside of yourself. When you're dealing with internal power, in my book, How to Become a God of Oneself, you don't war with anything outside yourself. You war internally. You have no competition. My only competition is myself, and I've already defeated myself. So it's like, I don't fear shit. Never mind. But yeah, the only one you're in competition with is yourself. A lot of times we be so, like, for example, I've been in competition with myself the last 6 to 7 years, knowing that the journey that I'm on to now is kind of like, I've always wanted to do it, but I was fearful. I was at war with myself. And in my mind, I probably did think I was scared of everybody else. No, I was scared of myself. Damn, I was a real deal pussy. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, your only adversary is yourself. Yeah, and in the future I'm going to give more tools. Like, I'm lightly touching on certain tools, but in the future I'm going to give you more tools as far as building this internal power. Like, becoming a God of oneself, building certain internal power involves, like I said, meditation, prayer, affirmations. I'll go into self-hypnosis in the future, mental masturbation. This sounds crazy, but I'm going to go into that in the future. And self-hypnosis is very powerful. Very powerful. But he gives examples in his book of what to do. And I wanted to give my personal example of how one of the main reasons I'm writing this book. Yeah, about 6-7 years ago, I was in a real bad state. I didn't even know it. I was in a real bad state of, looking back in hindsight, it was like a real bad depression. I was over-medicating. Yeah, over-medicating, like, yeah. And I was in a real bad state. I think I was really grieving over my father's death more than anything, but I don't want to use that as an excuse, but it was like a few things, and I was making moves in life that just wasn't smart. You know, like, yeah. Well, anyway, I remember I got to this point where it felt like it was like a rock bottom kind of thing, and I looked at myself, and I realized what I had become. And I got to thank my mom, because it was like, I always watched her growing up. She didn't start till I was like a little older, but I used to watch her wake up in the morning at 4 a.m. and do meditation and yoga. And something told me in my mind, like, Darren, you need to start meditating. So I just started trying to meditate, and it's hard. Like, I started out by just trying to sit there and just be quiet and be still and focus on my breathing. And it's very hard at first. It's a practice. It's like anything. But anyway, I say all that to say this. Like, meditation opens the door to, like, the universe. And the universe will tell you everything you need to do to heal yourself. It's not going to be in this voice like, Darren, do this. It's just going to be in this, you're just going to get these, like, little thoughts like, damn, I need to start taking care of myself more. Like, even if it's just health-wise, or it's not like a voice that's going to tell you, do this. But it's going to be like, you're just going to start, when you meditate, you're just going to start like during the day, after you start practicing meditation more and more, during the day, you're going to start getting more like just feelings to do different things. And the feelings I started to do was like, it was like, Darren, write down what you feel like you need to give yourself. And it was like, during that time I was reading and stuff, and I started reading up on I Am Consciousness. You can Google I Am Consciousness, the Great White Brotherhood, or whatever you want to do. But basically, it's in the Bible too. The most powerful words in the world are I am. And I say all that to say the most powerful things you can do right now is write down all your goals that you want, starting with the two words I am. The first letter I and the second letter I am. And make it simple, because the way your subconscious works is just like for one, like the affirmation, like I don't make it deep. I write I am. Like basically, I'm just gonna go into it, man. I'm gonna recite my actual mantra for you guys, and you're gonna think I'm gonna leave like certain parts out to like so you guys don't get too fearful. But basically, I wrote down this and I say it to myself every morning during meditation. I do it while I'm running. I actually call it running meditation also. So during the course of the day, I probably say this mantra to myself upwards to 20, 30 to 40, 50. I don't know how many times. But actually, I'm going to just say the whole thing for y'all. Because y'all don't think I'm crazy. I am good. I am God. I am great. I am God. I am wonderful. I am God. I am fantastic. I am God. I am awesome. I am God. I am Fossum. I'm silly, so I put Fossum stands for fucking awesome. I am Fossum. I am courageous. I am confident. I am creative. I am complex. I am love, joy, peace, positivity. I am happiness, laughter, forgiveness, and patience. I am a beacon of positive light and radiant with positive energy, because everything always turns out perfect for me. I am everything I could ever want for right now. I am God. And then I added a prayer at the end. Right now, I want to call upon all the gods and goddesses of the universe, all the ascended masters, beings of light, ETs, and archangels. Right now, I just want to ask upon you to, I just want to ask that you, I just want to thank you for all the blessings you're currently bestowing upon me. All the blessings in the past, all the current blessings, and all the blessings in the future. For I know that my future blessings have already been given. They're just in the process of manifestation. And I just want to thank you. Thank you for everything. And as I end every prayer, I am. But yeah, basically, everything was I am. I am, I am. But think about, like, I say all that to say this, like, looking back in hindsight, think about everything I was asking myself. It almost makes me want to cry now. I was asking myself for confidence. I was asking myself for stuff that I was already supposed to have for myself. I am good. I am great. I was like, I had forgot that I was like a good person. But like, I say all that to say this, a lot of times we start losing ourselves, and I think we be like waiting for everything outside of ourselves to tell us, like, we're waiting for other people to tell us, like, well, Darren, you're a good person. What's wrong with you? Why are you in such a bad state right now? And it's like, nobody's going to give you that. You have to give it to yourself. And that's why a lot of times I am more adamant about giving it to other people. I tell everybody who I feel like is in a bad state. I'll tell people I love you. Dudes, women, children, everybody. I love you. Especially if I can tell, I can get that feel that you're losing that love for yourself. But anyway, nobody's going to give that to you. You have to give it to yourself. So everything that I started saying 6 to 7 years ago, it's been a process. Now I actually have those things. And I have the real versions of them because I gave them to myself. I'm not looking for love outside anywhere because I gave it to myself. That's what being a god of oneself is. It's not about, while I'm here on this physical realm, if you don't, well, I'm not gonna say, if I didn't become a god of myself, I wouldn't be here right now. I was in a deep state of depression, headed towards like suicide almost. Looking back in hindsight, I can say all that. But yeah, let's see. But yeah, man, I talked about the relationship aspect, and I wanted to make sure I gave my example and of just the personal aspect. And basically, in conclusion, the law of attraction works both ways. The fearful perspective, you can attract what you fear. So if you're focused on what you fear, a lot of times it's going to come right back to you over and over again. That's what was going on with me before I changed my ways. I spoke into existence what I wanted to give myself instead of fearing whatever I thought. Who knows? Fearing whatever I was. Whatever. I don't know. Let me see. And he talks about how honesty is a blunt instrument that cuts and hurts people. And it's best to tell folks what they want to hear. And I say all that to say this. That's another conclusion. I read this shit and I almost feel like, bluntly putting it, this book is basically about raising, this book basically is raising fuck niggas, bro. Like, this shit is not fire. The way shit is now is not fire. And I can say that because I was the same way. I was a fuck nigga. I was a liar. I was a cheater, blase, and I'm still working on myself. I ain't perfect. Don't get it twisted. But it's like, the way the shit that's rewarded in society, that shit ain't cool. Like, I'm not even the same guy I was now. Like, niggas come around me now and they'll tell me shit about all the hoes they fucking and shit. I don't give a fuck about none of that, bro. I don't know who you trying to impress. It ain't impressing me. I don't care how much pussy you getting. I don't care how much money you getting. I don't give a fuck by none of that, dog. Like, everything that impresses me right now is about internal power. And in my mind, high integrity, high character, high moral compass, high spiritual IQ. If you can show me that with your actions, really, I don't be listening to none of these niggas be talking about it. It's like, I go off the feel and just whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with women. Just go off how you feel when you, yeah. But, yeah. So basically, in conclusion, conceal your intentions versus mine, speak into existence. And I want to end with this. How much is external power worth? How much, yeah. How much is it worth to you? You know what I'm saying? Because every law that he's telling you about in here is getting you closer to achieving external power over worth. In the end, for everything that you're giving up to achieve external, you're giving up certain piece internally. So in the end, you're chipping away at your soul. How much is it worth? How much? I keep saying that because it's like, people think that selling your soul is like writing down on a piece of paper, here, my soul in blood, and giving it to the devil. It's not that. Selling your soul is everything that you're doing by doing with this book. It's like you're sacrificing every little piece of your soul to achieve everything externally. If you want the money and the wealth and the fame and power over others, you got to give up a piece of your integrity. You got to give a piece of your character. You got to give up, you got to lower that moral compass and fuck how you want to feel spiritually. That's what selling your soul is. Yeah. So, yeah. If you want to be a god in business, then you're gonna have to sacrifice your internal god. And I ain't about that life, dog. I'd rather sacrifice everything. That's literally what I did. I came this close to selling my soul, for real. Like, this close, like all the way selling my soul. But like, the last 6-7 years of everything I've done was like, damn. All right. Yeah. Thank you. Like I said, Neecuism.com. Neecuism.com, baby. Neecuism. Neecuism.com, baby. We got soft sale. We got soft sale. You can buy packs and through the mail. We got soft sale. We got soft sale. You can buy packs and through the mail. Yeah. Neecuism. Neecuism.com, baby. We got soft sale. We got soft sale. You can buy packs and through the mail. We got soft sale. 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 You can through the mail. Bandana, gang, NEECUISM, Mafia. You could buy it, we ship it, pack it, deliver it, front door with precision. Any city, any listing, we the business. Bandanas, gang, bandanas, gang, NEECUISM, Mafia.